me preface this. Not all ideas are good ideas. A lot of the ideas that I have, I just kind of throw shit at the wall and see what works. Sometimes they work great. For instance, I have the Arizona Coffee Pass. That, amazing. Takes you to 9 different local coffee shops. It's only $20 and you get $50 of free stuff at each one. Great thing. The Agave Trail Pass, same thing. 9 locations throughout Arizona. You get a discounted drink at all of them. Great idea. My candle, great idea. Me telling you guys to ask me anything
anonymously?
Not a good idea. I should have known that going into it. It was not the best idea I've ever had. I'm an open book, as you guys know. I talk about a lot of things. If I'm being open, give you some questions that you have. Well, unfortunately, as always, men have to ruin it. So yes, I posted a ask me anything anonymously and I got some really good questions, but I did take it down because for as many great messages as I got, it makes me worried to like what kind of men are on there. Putting a real show on. You look great. Embarrassing. Well, not all ideas are great ideas. I did put that out there. The questions that I got that I would love to answer, I will be answering those. I did have somebody ask for tips on being sober. I actually was sober for a year and a half. I just got to a place with alcohol where I felt extremely like a prisoner to it. It was something I used to cope a lot with, and it was extremely unhealthy, which is why now I'm extremely careful about alcohol. If I feel like I'm in a bad place, I try and stay away from it because I've been in a bad place with it before. And again, I was just using it to cope. Now, when I have drinks, I try and make it mindful. If I'm gonna have a drink, I want to know that I'm having it for a reason. If I'm craving a drink, sometimes I'll allow it. Like for instance, I was craving a pumpkin porter a few weeks ago. Craving. So I went and had one. But I'm gonna get into that in a moment. I'm running a little bit late to my tennis lesson, so we're gonna go play tennis first, and then I will get right back onto that thought, and I'll go into more detail too on like what I went through, what happened, how I am now with alcohol. So I'll go over that. I'm getting better. I think this is how many third? It's like my fourth, but I'm getting better. Exhausted. Tennis is a lot more, it's like, it doesn't look like it'd be that hard, but it is. And it's also still 90 degrees outside. When you're running around in the heat and you have a racket and you're trying to hit the balls, it is hot. I am going to tell you guys more about my journey with alcohol. You know what? Let me like kind of restart all of this just because I don't want to miss anything. By the way, I'm also going to be waxing my eyebrows. I am well overdue. I don't know if you could tell, but there are some strands that are just like completely out of place. I usually do my own eyebrows. I have them microbladed. Can you tell? I go to Naked Beauty. She's over in Tempe. So I love her. I've been going to her for a while. I've only had them done twice now, and you shouldn't have to have them done that often. Go to her. Anyway, I have my own kit. I also am a licensed esthetician, in case you guys didn't know. That's what I did for 8 years of my life, 8 or 9 years. That's what I was doing since the age of 19, aesthetics. I did a lot of full body waxing, eyebrows, everything from the age of 19 to 27. I was doing that full time, and then I went part-time with that when I started this business, Southwest Sampler, and now I'm full-time Southwest Sampler. I've been doing full-time Southwest Sampler for 4 years now. That's crazy. Alcohol journey. Tips on staying sober, especially in my line of work. I do a lot of going out to eat, networking, a lot of events. There's always alcohol involved. So what I have come to notice for myself, I only drink now when I feel good in my skin. If I'm in a place where I feel negative or I feel like something is just off, a bad day, I really try as much as I can to stay away from alcohol, because in the past I used to rely on alcohol to get me through those hard times, and it is not a healthy cycle. That's why now you may not see me drink as much, just because of that cycle that I had previously created, which let's go over that. 19 is when I moved to Tucson. Actually, you know what? Let's bring it back a little bit more. In high school, I was going through a really bad time just with family. I didn't really have a home to call home. I was staying at my friend's house. God bless her. Her and her family. I was not okay. Because of that, I was using alcohol a lot to just kind of cope, but I didn't realize at the time that I was coping. I just thought I was drinking and that was it, and I would black out, and like I was fine with it, because why else would I think differently? That was my high school. A lot of blacking out, a lot of mistakes. The second I graduated, I went to cosmetology school, which is how then I got into aesthetics and whatnot. In cosmetology school, I honestly like just stopped drinking. I think it was maybe maybe I was in a better place mentally, I just stopped drinking. Again, I didn't really think anything of it. Oh, you know what I did? I turned to cannabis. Oh my God. You guys know my journey on cannabis if you've been following my Instagram. It's been a good journey. Very, very good journey. Turned to cannabis at that point. And as I'm talking to you guys about this right now, I might start to make some connections. If you're making the connections for me, I'm probably making them right now too. I was living in Mesa and I moved then to Tucson. So at this point, I'm in Tucson. I'm working at European Wax Center. Keep this in mind. I didn't have a family home at this time. I didn't have any place to call home. I had to figure it the out, plain and simple. So moving to Tucson was a way for me to not only get away from whatever was going on in Mesa, but also just to find myself. I'm living in Tucson. I'm working my off because this is my first job outside of school, you know, adult job. I want to make a really good impression. I want to make money. I want a car. At this point, I'm taking the bus to work every single day. I'm just in a very different place in my mindset, and I knew that I wanted to be better. I knew that I wanted a lot of things for myself, and I just had to work hard for it. Keep in mind, I'm 19, working full-time, working the weekends. I end up getting myself a car, though at the same time, I am dating somebody who is currently going to U of A. I still had like some friends in the area, but because I was working so much, especially on the weekends, I wasn't out partying all the time. I wasn't drinking. I just wasn't. And honestly, alcohol to me at that point was just like, whatever. And if I did have a few drinks, it was just a few drinks. Like I never blacked out. I wasn't that type of person at that point in my life. I just really could take it or leave it. I didn't care. I didn't really see the hype. Cut to, I turned 21. I'm able to start going out. And at this point, it was like maybe a week or so after my 21st birthday, I moved back to Phoenix. The reason I moved back to Phoenix is I knew that I had more opportunity out here for the things I wanted to do. At the time, I didn't know I was going to be doing what I do now, but I just knew that there was more opportunity. I'm 21. There's Mill Avenue, there's Scottsdale, and I am just having a fucking heyday. Hold on, let me take this off. I'm going out, I'm having a blast, making some dumb decisions, just, you know, being a 21-year-old. At 22 is when I met the guy that I dated for 6 years. So he was 6 years older than I was. He was not really into alcohol. He actually was more so into like fitness and health. I was young and hot and my body bounces back quick. I didn't really get hangovers, so I would drink a lot. I really would. Throughout this 6-year relationship, you know, at first it's like, oh, funny, haha, whatever. And then as I started getting older, I started realizing that I didn't know how to be myself without alcohol. So in turn, I started to abuse alcohol in a way that was just that. It was me using it because I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. At the age of 24, I think 24 to 26, I was blacking out a lot. Every single weekend, goodbye. Because again, I didn't like who I was. I didn't like myself. What better way to turn off your brain than to use alcohol? So I started using alcohol in a very negative light. But you know, again, I'm still young, so I'm like, I'm just having fun. I'm young and dumb. It's fine. And that's exactly what he thought too. He's like, oh, she's just being young and dumb. She's fine. Sooner or later, that all caught up to me. I ended up, I think I was 27, having a really bad night, blacking out as usual. The guy I was dating for 6 years, the next morning he was just like, look, I can't do this anymore. I think you have a problem. I've tried to address this. I don't know what else to tell you, but you need to figure this out. I did get help for it. I started to go to a lot of therapy and I started to dip into why I use alcohol the way that I do. The cycle I was creating was extremely unhealthy. I knew I was doing it. I didn't want to admit it at first, but once he sat me down, I don't know what to do anymore, is when I, to be honest with you, I was like, I'll show you. This will come back in a bit when I like finish the story. I was in this moment where I was like, I'll do you one better. I'll get help. I got help, got a lot of therapy. We started to dip into why I was using alcohol, like I just said. A lot of the reasons I was using alcohol was because I felt extremely uncomfortable in my own skin, but also because the relationship that him and I were having for 6 years was a lot of me not knowing who I was and relying on him, being codependent, trying to make him happy, but then also feeling so insecure in myself that I didn't know how to be myself. And when I was with him in person, I felt like he was judging me all the time. So I would just drink. I would just fucking drink. Going through therapy allowed me to realize that our relationship wasn't healthy. Not that it wasn't healthy because of everything I just said, but it's because we didn't know how to communicate. I felt like there were many instances that, how do I explain this nicely? I was never going to be the woman that he wanted me to be. And for so long, I was trying to fit that role, which is why I started drinking a lot, because I felt like, well, Nobody, literally since childhood, nobody wants me for me. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't talk. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So I was just trying to mold to this person that he wanted me to be because that's all I knew. That's all I knew from childhood. That led me into having this relationship that ended up being negative for my mental health because of my actions and his. I can't blame myself 100%. You know, there's two people in this story. I'm not going to get into all of it. There's a lot more to the story, but you know what? I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I was going to therapy for a month at this point. In that moment, I just had a lot of realizations of I'm never going to be this person he wants me to be. And for my own sake, I need to get the fuck out. I did break up with him. He ended up getting married like 4 months later, but that's another story. He wasn't married, by the way, but engaged. Okay. At this point, it's been a month of me getting therapy, figuring myself out, just really dialing into like, why do I do this with alcohol? And why is alcohol such a thing for me? At this point in time, I had stopped drinking completely. Stopped drinking in therapy twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes. And I do this for a year and a half. Through this year and a half, I don't drink at all. Nothing. Nada. Sober. I actually went to a few AA meetings because I'm like, what's going on? You know, I was just trying to figure out like, who am I? Again, that's what this whole journey has been, to be honest with you. Why do I do this? Do I need recovery? Do I need help? What is going on? A year and a half goes by and I'm realizing that I do have tendencies with alcohol. And what I mean by that is when it comes down to me using alcohol, as Andrea Blake, need to be very cautious of why I'm choosing to have that drink in that moment. And if it's for a good reason, for like a celebration, or we're going out with friends, or if it's for a reason that, you know, I'm holding on to some and I should probably talk about it because it's really hard for me to talk about things and cry. I've said this before, crying for me is like so hard. So if you guys see me cry on here, like, thanks for letting me cry because it does not happen often. That is how I got to a place with alcohol where I understand now how I utilize it. That's why for me, when I drink alcohol, it's typically an experience, a girls' night, it's whatever I just said, right? Going back to your question, my tips for you would be, why are you drinking? Are you drinking because you're uncomfortable? Maybe you're at an event or you're at a party. Maybe you feel like you need to drink in order to be yourself. That's how I felt. And if that is the case, I would definitely encourage you to test the waters. Go out there and tell yourself, tonight, I'm not gonna drink. I'm gonna see what I can do by myself. And it is gonna be hard. You're not gonna grow until something changes. And nothing changes if nothing changes. You either gotta bear with it and make the change, or just keep doing what you're doing. And maybe something will change down the road. I don't know. Another tip would be, this is a tough one for a lot of people, and it's because I've had this question a lot. How do you not drink on the weekday? I don't. I just don't. And if I do, again, it's out with a friend, have maybe 1 glass of wine, 1 beer. It's not a luxury, it's a treat at this point for me. And I don't put too much on it because something I've learned for myself is if I put way too much pressure on myself, I end up doing the thing that I told myself I wouldn't do. And then I get depressed about it later. You failed yourself. You did that wrong. Start to do things that you know that you're able to do. Don't drink on the weekday. If you go out with a friend, order a mocktail. You know what I really love? Dirty sodas. Those are so good. Oh my God. Soda water. Oh my God. Listen, I crave beer every day. And it's not even the effects of the beer. It's, oh my God, it's like the carbonation, the taste. It's just, oh my God, I love craft beer. I love a craft beer. But do I go get one every day? No, I'm not gonna go do that. I don't want to go do that because I don't want to feel like shit tomorrow. I don't want to this, that, the other. I wait for the weekend. And if on Saturday rolls around and I'm craving it that day and I happen to have a friend that wants to go out, cool, let's go get a drink together. But other than that, I really try not to drink that often. And I'm kind of just going in waves here. So hopefully it is all making sense to you and hopefully these tips are helping. But your health is huge, especially if you're in a place right now where you are noticing that you want to work on your health. Alcohol is not great, though there are certain types of alcohol that I do stick to. So I really like wine. I do like craft beer, but only to a certain extent because a lot of it is just gonna make you bloated. Mead is actually good for the gut. Not to say you should be drinking mead all the time, but mead isn't gonna f your gut up. Certain types of tequila. So for instance, I love Casamigos. There's a lot of different types of spirits that are made with really bad ingredients, and that's why you feel like absolute crap after. Whereas there's higher top tier spirits that aren't going to give you that disgusting groggy effect. That's also why I made the Agave Trail Pass. Just a little secret there, because I know that there's a lot of spirits out there that you up, but the ones that I purposely chose on that pass are not gonna like do that to you. So that's also just a little nugget there for you. That's why I created that pass. It all comes around, right? I know for me, I think about the goals I have in the morning. If my goals don't align with having drinks that night, I'm not gonna drink. My eyebrows are done, by the way. Do they look good? Thank you. I'm also gonna do a little hair mask really quick. Track your productivity. That helped me a lot. Hair mask. So let's say you have some goals that you wanna achieve. Track your productivity. See if you're achieving those goals within that amount of time that you gave yourself. Typically, I give myself a month, and every month I create new goals for myself. So if I have a set of goals and I find that I'm not achieving them, why? Because you have a lot of time. You do. So why didn't you achieve them? It's because I went out with friends on a Tuesday night when I didn't need to, but then that boiled into Wednesday. Wednesday, I don't feel so hot. My brain's not functioning. Day is done. Look into your goals. I have noticed for myself that once I started to cater my drinking habits to my goals, I don't drink that much anymore. I would way rather work for my future than be in the moment with a few drinks when eventually I'm not gonna remember it anyway. That's another tip, another hack that I thought I would share. The other thing is, it's okay to lose friends who are not serving you anymore. If you find that the friends that you hang out with are judging you for you not drinking, or they're making you feel weird about it, chances are it's because they don't know how to not drink. It's not a you thing, it's a them thing. Friends don't have to be friends forever, and sometimes people are in your life for a reason and eventually they're not. My highest suggestion to you is do not cater your life for somebody else if they are not serving you anymore. It's gonna be hard at first, don't get me wrong. It's just not worth it. So that is currently where I am at with alcohol. Those are some of my tips. If you do feel like a little insecure about maybe not drinking, what I did do at first was like a little placebo effect. I would just get a soda water, maybe put some old-fashioned bitters in it. Done. Oh my God, that's actually one of my favorite mocktails because it's not all sugary. It's very clean. Literally soda water with bitters. That's it. It is so good. I'll make it here sometimes. Oh, and that's the other thing. I do not keep alcohol in the house. Alcohol is a treat. If I'm gonna have alcohol, I go out. Highly encourage you, especially if you're trying to have more of a sober state of mind, do not have it at home. This journey that I just shared with you guys has been something I've never really shared before at all. And it's because I was scared to be judged by it. Truth is, once I started opening up to it or opening up about it to people in person, I started noticing that a lot of people, more than you would think, are silently struggling with the exact same thing. And that's why I say, if you feel like a friend is kind of questioning you, like, well, why are you doing that? That's weird. It has nothing to do with you. It's because they most likely don't have the willpower to do it themselves. So they're most likely gonna bring you down to make you feel like them. That's just what it is. And that's what I've noticed. And that's what I've had to deal with in the past. And those friends just don't serve you anymore. Actually, you know what? No, here's the thing. Oh my God. When I was in Colorado with my friends last week, I got there. We had this beautiful dinner. It was a farm to table restaurant, Michelin star. We ordered a bottle of wine. We each had one glass. And then after that, they wanted to take me to a cocktail bar. We all sit down and collectively, you can feel the energy just like shift. Nobody wanted to be there, but it felt like we all had to like appease each other. Looking at the cocktail menu, somebody says something, I forgot who, and I look at them and I go, honestly, drinking lately has made me feel disgusting, so I probably won't even get a drink. And they both looked at me, hallelujah, let's go home. Like, I want to go home. I want to lay down. I want to get my PJs. As we're all getting older, and especially depending on who you choose to keep around you, we're all kind of thinking the same thing. It's a matter of we're just trying to like appease each other. I don't think we got to do that anymore. I think we're all in a phase now where we're just, I'd rather like be home and cozy, talk on the couch, maybe have some popcorn, maybe like smoke some. I would honestly say if you feel like you're in this transitional period of wanting to have more sobriety in your life, it's there. It might be a little uncomfortable at first, but trust me, the other side is so much better. And all of this to say, I do still have drinks. Like right now, all day today, I have been craving a pumpkin porter from Four Peaks. Give it to me cold right now. I want one so bad. And you know what? I might go get one later. It's a Friday, who knows? Got my hair mask on. Last week I showed you guys that I made some rosemary hair oil, so we're almost down to the first one, and then after this I have a whole other jar in the fridge. Hair oil is gonna be on for maybe an hour, and I just freshly washed my hair so that the hair oil can actually soak into the hair. Otherwise there's a lot of product and stuff on it and it can't soak through that. And then I've been doing this every night, actually, every single night. I just put it all around. I've also been getting a lot of questions on where I get my hair done. I go to Extension Bar and I see Maria. She is absolutely amazing. I've been going there for like 6 or 7 years, a really, really long time. And if you guys want to go and you see this, I did partner with them. So they're giving you guys 20% off any first time service. This could be anything. Extensions, gloss, trim, your cut, your blowout, whatever you want done, they're gonna do 20% off your first times. Definitely go see Medea, and it's at Extension Bar. Another question I got was how it was to grow up Mormon. As I just get done talking about me drinking. That's so funny. The Mormon values aren't so far off, are they? Growing up Mormon, that was interesting. If you take me into a church now, which the last time I went into a church and had a service was last year, maybe in like November, and I almost started crying. It is triggering for me. And that wasn't even a Mormon church. That was just a regular church. It's triggering for me. And if you are Mormon or you know anybody that's Mormon, anything that I'm about to say has nothing to do with them, the religion. It just has to do with me and my personal experience. Okay. I always felt like the black sheep. I always felt like I didn't belong. Genuinely, they made me feel like I wasn't supposed to be there. That's just what it is. I'm telling you my truth. It felt like because my family wasn't super invested and like they were in it, they kind of looked at me like, oh, she's just the black sheep. She just comes whenever. So I felt like I wasn't really as involved because I felt so out of place. I always felt out of place. And I started asking questions. Why does the Book of Mormon say this? I don't understand. Oh, just have faith, have faith. I understand that, but I'm also a logical person. Not to say that they are not being logical. What you believe is true. That is true to you. For me, what I was reading, I couldn't comprehend why I had to believe that. I just never felt right. I ended up leaving at the age of 15 is when I officially was like, my home life is going to trash. I don't want to do this anymore. like everything about my life was just not it. I did not care. I did not want to participate. I never felt confident or comfortable in the church. I was just like, this is just not for me. However, to rebuttal my statement that I just said, I did have some extremely fun times when it came to, I forgot what it's called. Oh my God. Oh, mutual. Every Wednesday was our mutual. So what mutual is, everybody in your, how do I explain this? There's churches all around. So picture like a franchise. There's a ton of different franchises of McDonald's, but there's only one McDonald's in your neighborhood. So your neighborhood congregates every Sunday at that McDonald's, even though that McDonald's is a part of the whole conglomerate. There's all these churches. My ward is what we called ourselves, would go to church at this certain time. Church was 3 hours, I believe. We were also split up by age. The younger kids would go to like, I'm like forgetting what it's called. Sunbeams. I think that's what they were called, sunbeams. Little kindy, classes and sing and whatever. At my age at the time, it was, I want to say 12 to 16, I think. Somewhere in that age range. So sorry if I'm wrong on that, but that's what I remember. They would then take the young women and young men within that age range and put us in a group together. There would be certain Sundays where they would take us away from each other. They would teach the girls about homemaking and being the perfect wife. It is true. They would take the men, and I don't know what they did with the men. And then we would come together. Sometimes we would have together sessions. Every Wednesday, however, was mutual. We would all get together as the young men and the young women, and we do really, really fun activities. Let's say it's October. It would consist of a hayride in a haunted house, or painting pumpkins together, going to a drive-in. It was just always something different and very interactive. To be blunt with you, my parents did not let me out of the house. I was bubble kid. I was the bubble boy. I was not allowed out of the house. It was very much not allowed. If I was allowed out of the house, I was allowed to go to mutual. Mutual was like my saving grace. That's when I was really allowed to just go out and be a fucking kid and have interaction. They would let me out of the house, but to be honest with you, it was a toothache, like pulling teeth to let me go out of the house. Again, mutual was just somewhere I can be away from them, just a way for me to socialize. And then we also had girls camp. Girls camp was, I believe, the same ages, 12 to 16. Again, that's what I remember. And girls camp was every year for 5 days. And I believe it was up in Payson. It was somewhere up north. It was a bunch of girls from all the different churches. So you got to see a ton of different girls. All of them came together. We would do a ton of stuff at this camp. It was called Camp Lamaya. Oh my God. I have some photos. Hold on, let me show you. I just pulled out the entire box. This isn't an entire box filled with toys. Oh my God. Photos. This is my dog when I was little. And this is my baby blanket. I would carry him everywhere. He was my support animal. But now my support animal is Abe. This is Abe. Hi. I take him everywhere with me, even on plane flights. Let's look at what photos we got. Well, here's me as a kid. And I didn't ever smile with my teeth because I had no teeth. Oh, here's when I finally had teeth. Oh, that was cute. And there we are. Here's when I was baptized Mormon. I don't know what is on it. I don't know what that is, so I apologize. This is when I was baptized. This is my grandpa right here. I believe I was 10. I can't remember what age you're supposed to get baptized. It took me a little bit longer because when I was growing up, my family wasn't as involved in the church until later on in life. When I say my family, I mean my mom and my stepdad. When I talk about this family, like extended family, they've always been involved in the church. It was just my immediate family. That's why Grandpa baptized me. He's still a very much big supporter of the Mormon church. So that's on my baptism. Here's my Aunt Jolynn. When I was younger, she pretty much, from my recollection, raised me. And that's because my mom was in school. She was a young mom. She was only 19 when she had me. And her and my dad didn't stay together. So my dad wasn't in the picture at the time. And I was staying at my grandparents' house. And my Aunt Jolynn was, I think she was more like teenager when I was born. I'm really bad at age. All of basically who I am, like all these quirky things about me in a fun way, the music taste I have, alternative, their nerdiness I have, Twilight, all of that genuinely comes from her. That's my Aunt Jolynn. Here I am with the puppy. See? There's the puppy. Oh, this is the one. Who is Harry Potter? This is the exact photo I was thinking of when I thought, oh, I have some photos at Camp Lamaya. Oh God. But what is that? This is when I thought I was so cool. This is when I really got my confidence, okay? And then I don't know where it went. It's coming back, but this one. Do you see that one? What are those sunglasses? So embarrassing. This is so chuggy. What am I doing? What's on my wrist? Those are some photos from Camp Lamaya. I would love to share more of these if you guys are ever interested. I think it'd be so fun to kind of do a deep dive and tell you more about my growing up, but just let me know. I'd be happy to do that. Growing up Mormon, that's how it was for me. Majority triggering. And it's just because I've always felt like I was out of place. I never really felt like I was one with the team. It also has to do with the belief system. I love their morals. I think that they have extremely great morals. But for me, not you, not anybody you know, but for me, I just didn't believe what they believe when it comes to God or what happens when you die. I just didn't believe those things. I am extremely appreciative that I grew up the way I did, even though it was not ideal and even though it was hard, and even though I want a completely different scenario for my children, I am grateful that I grew up the way that I did because I am who I am today. I'm able to talk about these things. I have a little bit more life experience in different ways that maybe some people don't. I have a different outlook on life because I grew up a certain way. I'm extremely grateful for the trials that I had, but would I go back? No, nope, no. That's a little bit of growing up Mormon, where I am now with that. I do not participate. Again, I walked into a church last year and I about burned, so it's just not for me. What I do believe in now, if you guys are curious, I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe that there's a spiritual being that's out there that's guiding me. I don't know who or what that is, but I know that when I put things out into the universe and I work on them and I'm willing to listen to the universe, I listen to my gut, and I just really try and be so thankful and gracious, understanding for the things that I have or what may not be serving me anymore, and I work on that, exponential, beautiful things have happened in my life, and I never truly thought I'd be here today. Like, not be here physically, like, no, I truly never thought I would be in a place with myself and with my life where I am now. There were so many moments growing up, not even as a kid, like my childhood, miss me with that. I don't wish it on anyone, to be honest. And it's not that it was like terrible. I know that some people have really damaging childhoods. I know, I'm not comparing to that, but mine just was not great. It's not just my childhood, but it's also like when I was old enough to understand what was happening. By the time I was 17, about to graduate high school at 18, again, I didn't really have a home, the family stability, I didn't have any of that. And I remember looking out the window of my dad's house at the time, which again, I was only there maybe a few days out of the week. Otherwise, I was at my friend's house. It wasn't normal, but I remember being at my dad's house, looking outside, and we lived on Stapley and Main. If you know that area, yeah. And I remember looking outside the window. What am I gonna do with my life? I'm gonna cry. The fact that I'm able to cry with you guys though, like really, thank God, because some of the stuff I keep inside really sucks. Is this my life? What am I gonna do? Will I ever travel? Will I ever see anything? Will I ever grow? Will I ever leave? And again, if you know that area, it's really hard to be in a place like that and envision that you're gonna grow to be something better and be where I am today. I'm extremely grateful for all of the things that I've been through, the paths that life has taken me on, because I feel like I have so much knowledge as to what I want, what I don't want. If I'm able to talk about it, maybe I'm able to help other people potentially going through it and let them know whatever you're going through right now is not gonna be forever. If you set your mind to it, have goals, if you have ambitions, if you have wants, things that you want to live throughout your life, and this is the one life you got, you're gonna make it happen if you want it to happen. A lot of the other questions I got were things that I've answered throughout all the other vlogs. So if you guys want to take a look at those vlogs, there's a lot of information out there. I share a lot about my life. I am very candid. I want to be candid because I have been in a place before where I was not myself. I was this version of who I thought you wanted me to be. And that's because of childhood, mainly traits that I learned over time. Well, if I'm myself, nobody likes me. So I'm not going to be myself and I'm going to be this version and then hopefully people accept me. I'm not doing that shit anymore. I was so unhappy doing that. I don't want to play that role. I'm over it. I just want to be myself. I posted a video of me and Kitty dancing and I had somebody reach out. You seem to be off your rocker. Are you okay? I'm fine. I am more than okay. Finally in a place now where I feel comfortable enough with myself that I can just be myself. I don't feel like I need to be this other version to appease you. I can appease myself because guess what? We're all gonna pass away. What did you do? Did you make yourself happy or were you living for the person next to you? Were you living for the person that is on the internet who you don't even know? What are you doing? Are you living for you? This was a loaded episode. Episode vlog. I don't know. But I do appreciate all the questions you guys asked. Those were the two main ones that I really wanted to address today. And again, if you guys have any other questions, I am more than happy to answer them. If you really want me to get back to them, I would definitely put them in a comment below. For those of you that are new here, I'm Andrea Blake. I live in Arizona. I'm sharing my life in Arizona. I do have my social media, which is Southwest Sampler. If you guys want to follow me there, I'm always sharing things to do in Arizona. Day trips, getaways, discounts. I do a lot of discounts on really amazing things out here. Like for instance, my hair. And it's all things that I do personally, which is why I love what I have built. It's a way for you guys to interact with me, see what else is going on in my life, but also to kind of gain some more knowledge of what maybe you guys can go do in Arizona. That is Southwest Sampler. I do want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this episode, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.